Well, I'm now joined by A-level student Theo Vasiloiu. Theo, hello to you. Well, what do you make of this breaking news? You must be delighted that the government's done this U-turn.
It's been such a shocker of a day because we were all expecting to have to go through this appeals process that not even the government had a clue regarding what was going on, and now we're being told what we all really needed from the beginning, that we just wanted to be able to use the grades of our teachers who ultimately know us best. I assume they know us better than an algorithm, which Ofqual has even themselves said they wouldn't have wanted to have used anyway.
So how did the algorithm determine your grades then with your A-levels? What was your situation?
Well, so my situation was I was lucky. So my psychology class, we had less than 5 students. So very luckily, just for that one, we were able to get our grades, our CAGs, without having the standardisation applied. But apart from that, all my other classes were above. So I was dropped 2 grades. So I was dropped across subjects a grade each, which meant that I wasn't able to attain my university place. And now that this U-turn has happened, obviously I'm quite happy with it, but I'm not quite sure what's going to be happening, because the university has basically said that one of my unis has said that they'll honour my offer for September, and the other said that they're not quite sure what's happening. So despite this fantastic U-turn happening and essentially us getting what we deserve, no one really knows what's going to happen now.
But are you confident now? Are you hopeful that actually you will be going to the university of your choice?
Yeah, definitely. So my insurance choice, UCL, have said they'll honour my offer until the 18th of September. So now that this has happened, I'm confident that I'll go to medical school this year. Imperial, my first choice, they have said ultimately it depends on other students deferring their entry to next year. So it depends on what's going to happen. So I'm just going to have to shoot some emails to them and see what happens.
Yeah, how difficult is this to communicate with anyone over this crisis at the moment? It must be very hard. You're one of thousands affected.
It's very hard. You always think it's just you in that position, but you sort of have to ground yourself and say that literally I am basically 1 in 40, 4 in 10 are having this problem, based on the statistic that 40% of grades were downgraded. It's very hard because usually communication that we were not supposed to make in terms of like us having to go back and forwards with the uni trying to negotiate our places. And now that this has happened, are the government going to be making unis have more places now so they can accommodate all of us that initially missed our grades because of the whole algorithm scenario? Or is it now that we have to move our entry to next year? It's just a mess which could have been avoided. They've had 5 months, the government, to sort all of this out. Why are you making a decision 3 days after the results day?
Just a final thought, though, Theo. Would you accept that some form of moderation of grades was needed? The criticism is that grades would be vastly inflated, so something had to happen.
I think, looking back at it, there's obviously moderation needed. I do psychology. We know all about statistics and the importance of adjusting the bell curve each year to make sure that there's no discrepancies. But the problem we had this year is that how can you trust an algorithm that no one's built before, or no one's had to? Obviously, it's not the fault of the government that we haven't had to use an algorithm. But how can you trust the computer to essentially make a decision when you've got a teacher who's known these children for the past 2 years and they've known their strengths? And what's the worst that could have happened? We know that there was going to be discrepancies with the grades this year. Obviously, with the inflation, had what is now going to happened before on results day. But I think it would have been much worse if you had, particularly for myself who's looking to go into medicine, you have the NHS needing all these stuff, and essentially you're telling students that they can't get in based on a standardisation process. Now, my teacher grades meant that I would have got into my university had this standardisation not happened. So whilst I accept that it needed to have happened in order to limit the inflation this year, I think that it's the best of the worst possible scenarios, and that by this U-turn happening, there's going to be many more students that are going to be able to carry on with their lives and their education as a result of that.
Theo, thank you very much indeed for talking to us and sharing your experience with us, and we really hope it all works out well for you. I'm sure it will. Theo, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.